Welcome back to Cool Clubs Reviews. We have got the driver review of TSR3, Mark. What do you think?
It's one of my favorite drivers out there.
Yep.
Since the TSI came out, I played this driver in the TSI for a while, and I've got a TSR too. A couple of years ago when it came out, it was the best driver on the market, the best driver we had tested, and it's still one of the top ones. Even the redesign obviously improved some things, but it's still a great driver, and it's definitely one of the best on the market, I think.
And it's one you don't want to reinvent. The shape of it, everyone loves. Simple,
right.
smaller than a lot of the drivers out there now.
Deep face too, looks nice. I mean, it's just perfect shape for me.
Yep. And what I love about this, and it's the only one in the Titleist range, that you've got the ability to move the CG left to right.
Right, and that's pretty important. That to me is like a make or break it deal, because I have a tendency to leave the ball and fade it a little bit, although I typically hit it pretty damn straight. So I want a driver I can move with weight in the heel, and some of them without the adjustability, don't work, right? So, I played this one. I had weight all the way in the heel, and it was a slight draw biased, and it worked fantastic. So
yeah.
It's nice to have that adjustment.
I like it, especially for our virtual fitting kind of area, is when you're giving a guy a driver and they can move the hosel, which is great. You get a little bit of loft, a little bit of lie. As soon as they can move their own CG, I think that just adds that dimension of, okay, now I can tune this to myself, and it's really important.
And the nice thing about that too is when you're moving that weight around too, you're not changing the shaft. And some of the drivers you don't rotate the shaft or turn it.
Yep.
And some you do. And the ones you do, obviously, from Puring and all our S3 testing, we know shafts aren't the same in every direction. So as you rotate that shaft, you change other things than just the setting, right? You're changing how the shaft performs to some extent.
Yes.
By changing the weight around, you're changing nothing. So it's a really apples to apples comparison. So it's a good thing.
And this is, I must say, in the robot, we just keep it in neutral. So we don't try and bias it or do anything. It's just in neutral. Let's jump into the numbers. As we just said, one of the best drivers that we see in the year, always in that 3 TSR3 model. It's a killer. Across the face, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And last year, we did the TSI test, and I think this is similar. It's almost a tie. The 2 is supposed to be, more forgiving than the 3 by a fair amount, but we didn't really see that on the robot.
Yeah.
If anything, we saw the 3 kind of out, beat it by a tiny bit, right? And it's splitting hairs again.
And in the fitting bay, I think that's kind of like some people say, I see, whoever on tour playing the TSR3, I should be in the 2. And it's like, maybe from a visual point of view, there's not as much footprint there for you to look at. But
as far as the numbers, what the robot does and what you hit it where,
you're going to be fine.
It's not a problem.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah. Don't ever think going down to the 3 is going to make it less forgiving, because it really is not the case.
I think that's a great story to tell about this. It's like,
does the spin and the launch match what you're trying to do, and obviously adjustability if that's what you're trying to mess with. But I wouldn't worry about the size and a higher handicap. I mean, I would give this, looks like a tour club to an 18 handicap and not really think anything of it.
Yeah, as long as they're moving it the right way,
Yep.
that's it. And that's what we're seeing. It's not crazy high or crazy low in spin launch. It's kind of a mid spin launch.
The 9 and the 8 are obviously lower, designed to be that way. That's not just the loft, because we're taking that into account, but it's actually the CG moved a little bit, and they're different.
Yeah. And then the accuracy. This is the first one where we see like jumping into the 4.7s in those 9 and 10 degrees. That is a fairway finding club, bro. There.
Yeah.
And ball speed, those again in the 9 and the 10, we're seeing that club reach, mid 4s. So and that we can top out at 5. This thing really is the highest smash factor per degree of loft kind of understanding. Like within all the 9 degrees and 10 degrees, this thing's springing off the face. Funny, Tom Mace did some studies on the ball speed. There's not a great separation between the whole market in terms of ball speed,
they're all pretty good, to be honest. I mean, you're splitting hairs again, like I said,
Yeah, but you're getting some real bang for your buck out of this thing. Out of the face, out of the center, out of the heel, out of the toe. And obviously, if you're looking at spin and adjustability, this thing's it's the all-round.
It's got all the adjustability. It's got all the spin. It's just a good driver all around. And honestly, this is in my top 5.
Yeah.
Has been for a while now, even the previous model. Probably top 3. I've played this driver for a very long time, and I hadn't played a Titleist driver previous to that for probably 10 years.
Same,
yeah. It's definitely worth a look, even if you're a higher handicap than you would think.
Yeah, don't be afraid of it. Pick it up, give it a hit. It's only if it's intimidating you from the size that you're not gonna, you might make a few flinch swings at it. But
for me, the size is not just how big the footprint is. I like the deep face.
I need the deep face,
and I tee it up high and stuff, so I can miss it up and down quite a bit. I got a lot of room,
Okay, so TSR3, what are you looking at handicaps?
I think everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I was just one of my favorite drivers, right? So I gotta kind of give it a little comment there. Like I said, this, everyone thinks of Titleist as better player clubs, and you're looking at this driver, and it's not, it's real traditional looking and stuff, and you know, you'd think this would be a single-digit, low-handicap club, but I think, you know, again, you're probably up the same as the 2, right? You could probably go up to an 18 handicap or so.
Yeah.
Pretty comfortably.
I think you're right. I think this probably would scare a few people off because you see it on tour a little more than you do the 2, and the whole story about 2 and the shape of the 2. But I'm with you. You know, 18 handicap wouldn't have a problem as long as they're moving the club the right way.
Right, as long as they're not a big slicer of the ball or whatever, they need a draw bias club or something like that. Then,
Yeah, for sure.
You're up to 18 as well.
Great.